Perfectly normal radio. It sounds a little something like this.
He said, Channing Tatum Smithfield sausage, don't let it get to you.
Welcome to Perfectly Normal Radio, where it's all good. Enough. We don't really have the specific expertise, the celebrity status, or well-defined demographics of some other folks. But someone fucked up, taught us how to think, let us loose on the world, and we've since returned from the jungles, super funds, and movie theaters of these here United States to let you in on our findings. We've killed so much time jibber-jabbering with so many people in so many places that it seemed like the next logical step to kill all the time with all the people in all the places. So join us weekly at Person or Persons for all the stuff we didn't cut. 87 years ago Wednesday, Portia was founded. And why do we care what happened 87 years ago? For the only reason anyone cares about 77, because of Abraham Lincoln, who was born in a log cabin to 3 slaves and installed the stovepipes in Ford's Theater. I'd advise you not to look into that any further, as you might get put on one of those lists. But we just so happen to be big-time history buffs. Real knowledgeable types. So, you want to know about Abraham Lincoln? We'll tell you all about Abraham Lincoln. We'll tell you all the shit. Ah, yes. The shit.
When was Abraham Lincoln born?
I'm not so sure that he was. I mean, do any of us really know that there was an Abraham Lincoln? Like, can you say deep in your heart that you believe 100% because you've never met him or anybody who ever met him that he existed and therefore was born? I believe he was crucified, died, and was buried, and 3 days later he returned. I do believe that.
Where was he born?
I think Kentucky.
What kind of family background did he have?
Oh, one wrought with mystery. He was both a man of the people and a man who walked behind the rows.
How was his education different from yours?
I think he skipped graduation and therefore never got his diploma. So I think technically he didn't graduate high school. And I did. I totally did. I could prove it because it says dick on my diploma because I won. I won the high school game.
Give me 7 sentences telling why Abraham Lincoln was famous.
Abraham Lincoln was hung like a mule. That's 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
2. Abraham Lincoln was as freakish as he was promiscuous. That's 2. Abraham Lincoln, he could do that like weird throat singing that they do like in the Alps of Kentucky where he was born.
And number 4, please.
Oh, sorry. Abraham Lincoln cold-cocked. What's that lady's name? Marie Antoinette. The one that she had those car dealerships. And she had those annoying commercials. He cold-cocked that bitch one night at the bar. Over some shit. You know, I don't think anyone knows. 5? He had a long-running talk show where he would wear a different shade of lipstick depending on what the most recent film of his guest was. 6? He actually animated most of Steamboat Willie. But this is back when like they couldn't copyright things. So you pretty much like you gave it to the town crier and he like described it out loud to people. So no one actually saw it for about 100 years. It was good though. He did a really good job. 7? The trail goes cold there. Not that many people know what happened to him after all that shit, you know? I mean, he was, like I said, he was a man of the people, but he was a man who walked behind the rows. He was a man who was as much of a tree as he was a lumberjack, if you get my meaning. No, he was both pitcher and catcher.
What one thing do you remember best about him?
You know, that was what I loved about him, is that you really couldn't. You couldn't really answer that question. You know, what you thought you knew about him, you'd come to find out later was, you know, smoke and mirrors. He was a man of mystery.
Alright, damn it. This isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work.
No.
Now I'm gonna ask you these questions again, and you're gonna give me the answers that I want.
Okay.
Or otherwise I'm gonna bring Mr. Biggs down here. And you don't want me to do that, do you?
Oh, not today. Not with my hair like this.
What volume will you look in?
I will look in the true volume. The volume that all have known forever to be the true volume.
Where was Abraham Lincoln born?
Abraham Lincoln was born in my heart and is so every morning when I awake.
When was Abraham Lincoln born?
Abraham Lincoln is always born. He is always death. He is everything and nothing.
What kind of family background did he have?
A rather lovely one. He was very supported by his parents who turned out to be communists, but no one really cares.
Oh, God.
Damn it, that wasn't very good.
Mr. Biggs.
No, not Mr. Biggs! I'm sorry, I was playing soccer.
We're going to get the baseball bats
Okay.
and we're going to get to the bottom of this.
It's not something they tell you on your first day of improv class, but there are consequences. Don't try and be funny. Don't pull from old tricks. If you're not being in the moment, you get taken out of the moment. Yes, and permanently. There's a lot of people who tried too hard to be funny and failed. Now they lie in a ditch out by the interstate and it's easy. But all death is easy. The tough choices come with being alive. Or is it living? Tough choices come with living. No, that's not right either. I wonder if anybody else has come across this problem.
What is the difference between living and being alive?
Passive and active voice.
It sounds like a fucking. It sounds like an advertisement for like a retirement home in Boca Raton. Like Jungle Acres is the difference between living and being alive. It's only mixed couples too. Only mixed couples over 65. Jungle Acres.
So the key is to appreciate diversity and wisdom. Well, not always. Jungle Acres is golden, and I don't just mean the Pony Boys and showers. That place is wild. But diversity and wisdom, they can get complicated. Like, there's certain jobs that nobody should have, but certain people would be particularly useless, for whatever that's worth. And then there's certain wisdoms not so wise, philosophies not so full, ideologies lacking OGs, paradigms not worth 2 bits, tenets with no love, principles that just don't come clean, Welton Shuangs, I guess, that I'm not going to look up because I already thesaurized ideologies, which means it probably means what I mean. And what I means is that not all things are doubly plus good, Virginia. Some are, in fact, not doubly plus good at all. Some are a bit cattywampus, if you like. And they're out there.
I loved hearing all the shit when Obama first became president that all white people were going to be forced into slavery.
Oh, what a logistic nightmare.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Have you
I
ever
mean,
tried to
we're already slaves, but yeah.
Have you ever tried to get, like, pretty well-to-do white people to do anything they don't want to do?
Exactly. There's...
Oh, it is so fucking aggravating. It's like, go in the field and pick the cotton, and you're just like... I have 2 children at home, and Gerald is, yeah, it just, yeah, a lot of someone talking to you, like, you should know that everything they say is justified. I have kids, okay? I cannot stay in this smoking room overnight the day before Thanksgiving
Or,
in
excuse
Atlanta
me,
because we're all stupid enough to fucking fly the day before
I'm
Thanksgiving.
not going out there to work because I've got a college degree in philosophy. Hello.
This is not...
And I've got a minor in political studies. I'm not going to go out there and pick cotton out in the field.
Or they would just start, like, getting naked and frolicking, and you'd be like, you're supposed to stand in lines and pick the plant. Ha 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 ha, I only eat naturally fallen fruit. And, like, no one's asking you to eat it. They're saying pick it and put it in the bushel basket. He's going to push it in a truck. He's going to put it in a truck, and he's going to send it to some other group of non-white people to consume on the way to work.
Oh, by the way, I finally met real freegans.
What?
Well, freegan, it's a term that, like, think of vegan, but...
Like frozen vegans? Like some sort of, like,
my
popsicle
frozen vegetables. Nah, freegan is basically someone who... They only consume things that are given to them. They don't ever pay for anything. And I'm like, okay, whatever, another culture. But I was meeting them in Hawaii, and I'm like, you're just a fucking mooch. You say you're a freegan, you know, forming this whole philosophy about how you live, but you're waiting for me to give you my scraps. You're waiting to eat the crumbs from my table. How do you feel about that? Oh, also...
What if you set it down between the two of you and you didn't offer it to them? Or they just... will they just take anyway?
Actually...
Is this a thin veil over their theft?
What I noticed with freegans is...
It's such a dumb-sounding word.
Like, at the time, I would offer you, like, a sip out of this 2-liter bottle of water that I have. But to you, since you're a freegan... You're like, oh, I'll take the whole thing because you're giving this to me. And then, like, most people will be like, oh, whatever, just take the whole thing. But me, I'm like, no, I wanted it back. I'm just giving you a sip out of it. I'm just sharing. They're like, oh, well, never mind then. Like, okay, never mind.
Okay.
Makes this a lot easier. But yeah, freegans, they have this whole philosophy, like, they're not going to pick fruit off a tree. They're going to wait till it falls off first, because picking fruit off a tree is wrong. Even though if you study agriculture, you know, pruning a plant is actually healthy for it. If you pick fruit off a tree, it's going to help it grow more fruit.
Plus, I'd like to go second grade on this one and say, says who?
Exactly,
Because
says who?
Who is the governing body of right and wrong when it comes to fruits? You can go ahead and take that on any level you want.
I mean, you already said plants didn't have feelings when you were arguing about me eating meat and not plants. What? Oh, I met people in Hawaii where they were demanding that I ask the tree first before I go and pluck fruit from it. Like, fuck that shit, and I'll grab a couple of apples off the tree.
Plus, how is a tree going to respond to you? How is a tree going to understand you?
Well, basically what they do is...
Have they provided this tree with a basic education with which to understand the question posed to it?
Basically what
Because
they
if not,
do
then it can't give
is
consent,
they-
and therefore all tree sex is rape.
They assume that the tree goes ahead and says yes because you asked, but you're an asshole if you don't ask in the first place. Try to dig up some logic on that. You'll be wasting time.
I'm trying to, but I have to ask
Don't.
I have to ask the logic Earth before I go digging for any sort of...
You gotta ask the answer machine
Yeah.
before you go digging around with the question.
Dear answer machine, no. Okay.
And don't you fine folks at home worry. We've not lost that love and feeling. We've got many likes, loves, lusts, and loofahs. But you know how it is. You get home from work and you gotta bitch off some steam before you can really get all snuggly and affectionate. This is perfectly normal behavior for people of our human condition. So join us next time as we continue to work out those kinks in our game. En todos los juegos del mundo. How's my Spanish? Remember, C is passing. That's a joke, mijo. Went right by it. You gotta keep on your toes. Toes, that is. I think that was more Eddie Murphy doing Mr. Taylor than doing a Leghorn, which is awesome. Toodles. And this has been Perfectly Normal Radio. You can find this program, among other fun things, at personorpersons.com. Once again, that's personorpersons.com. Or look for Perfectly Normal Radio wherever you look for podcasts. The old thanks again and more are in the show annotations, so be sure and drink your Ovaltine over at persontopersons.com for stuff you might want to know about stuff we might want to tell you. Like, thanks for listening.
Wait, I'm sorry, what was it? I was thinking about Coco the Clown versus Coco the Gorilla.